What's up, guys? Welcome back. So as promised, I wanted to do a follow-up on the very last video that we posted here on the channel, a follow-up on this diesel heater that we picked up for cold weather camping. Obviously you can see where we're at. We've been out here for a couple days now, multiple uses on this thing, so I wanted to get back on here and let you guys know how it stood up to the cold. So let's jump right into it. We'll give you a little bit of a review. Spoiler alert, this thing is definitely worth the money. So one of the first things I want to cover is fuel efficiency. This thing has been phenomenal in this category. As you can see, we still have, I don't know, maybe a quarter or a third, roughly somewhere in between, of diesel left in there. Now, it is, let me look at my watch, I'll show you. It is about 11:03 in the morning. Last night we got up in the tent, it was around 8 o'clock. So you figure this thing has been running for about 15 hours. Now I did have it full up to the top, literally like right up to the rim, but 15 hours and we still have that left. That is awesome. And this is only a 5-liter tank. I thought about upgrading to the 10-liter tank, but honestly, after the last couple trips, I don't think I need to. So fuel efficiency definitely gets a very high grade on my end. For me, it has been great. Very, very low fuel consumption to run this thing and keep you warm up there in the tent. Next thing I want to cover is how I actually have it ducted up into the tent. Now, I'm actually going to replace this again. This is something I picked up off Amazon. You can see a very long, extendable ducting right there. The reason I went with that long of a piece is last night we had it tucked up underneath in between our swing case and the fridge. I'll put a picture on your screen, but we had it tucked up right in there. Worked awesome. There was no rain or snow expected, so it was cool to just leave it there and let it hang out, do its thing. The reason I went with such a long hose or long ducting is because if I need to run it in a different manner. And the very first night I was here, we had to do that. It was expecting some bad weather, so we actually, I'll put a picture on the screen, you'll be able to see the ducting, but we actually set it up underneath our canopy and ran the ducting all the way up, and we actually had it going into the other side of the tent, but we needed just about the entire length of that ducting to make it work. So yeah, the only thing I don't like about this ducting, I'll put a link to this down below if you want to pick it up. The only thing I don't like about it is right here at the connection spot, you have to be careful because of the type of material it is. It will rip. Actually, you can kind of see it right there. Hopefully it's showing up on camera. You got to be careful with the hose clamp. It will rip right there. Now, it doesn't affect the output. When I turn this thing on, you don't feel any warm air leaking out of there just because it's clamped down, but just wanted to mention it. I will put a link to this ducting down below for you if you want to pick it up. Just be careful if you do get it. Watch where you're doing with that hose clamp there. And then we basically just have it ran up into the window and zippered, you know, to keep it held in place. And I left myself maybe a 2 or 3 inch piece of ducting inside the tent. That way we can angle it however we want up there. Worked perfect. One of the other huge pros that I've loved with this thing is the Bluetooth capability. And again, we touched on it in the original video, testing it out in the garage, but that has been flawless. I have not lost connectivity at all. I've been able to monitor what this thing is doing, the temperature, change the temperature. I've been able to monitor my batteries, the whole 9 yards, from being up in that tent where it's nice and warm. Didn't have to get out. One time I didn't get any error codes, and again, I mean, I've only had it out a few nights, but so far the connectivity with that Bluetooth, absolutely worth every penny to be able to sit up in that tent where it's nice and warm and just be able to monitor it, change it, do whatever I need to do from up there in the tent instead of having to get out, you know, come down in the cold and deal with anything like that. So another A+ for me with that Bluetooth app. Very, very simple to use, but covers everything you need to know or need to use to be able to utilize this thing from the comfort of the rooftop tent.
So here we are in the tent, guys. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning, and you can see it's only about 39 degrees, so it's not like it's super cold, but you can see how we have the ducting ran up in here, and you know, obviously you can feel the warm air coming in. See if I can turn the light around real quick. There you go. You can see how I have it just kind of zippered in the window there, but it is absolutely comfortable in here. I actually took my sweats off. I'm literally just sleeping in a pair of shorts. That's it. My one blanket on, and I also sleep with the fan on me. It's just how I sleep year round. Always have a fan blowing on me, so this thing is keeping it super comfortable, and we only have it on a very low setting. I'll do a little screen recording just to show you that, but yeah, this heater is definitely worth every penny if you're camping in the cold.
Last thing I want to touch on is how we have it powered up. Now, for last night, we actually had it powered. You can see the cord, that red and black, is coming out of the back of this. We just ran it to our dual battery setup in the back. This thing draws very, very low power consumption. It only, when it first starts heating up, it might take between 8 to 10 amps, but that's only for maybe 3 or 4 minutes to get the ignition going and everything. After that, it only draws approximately 3 amps to run it overnight. So we have a 250 amp hour battery set up there, which is obviously, it'll last forever. But even if you just had one battery, you know, 100 amp hour or something back there, you're going to get a couple nights out of this thing easily, and then some, depending on how you have it running. But very, very low power consumption. You know, again, when we tested this out in the garage, it was all well and good, but I really wanted to get it in the field. And as I mentioned, after a couple trips with this thing so far, I've been blown away with it performance-wise in every stretch of the imagination. So the first couple nights when we had to have it up underneath our canopy, I don't know if you can see it over there, right there, we do have a separate battery, which I'm going to be doing a video on that actually. It's a less expensive battery that I picked up for situations like this. So we just basically had it plugged into that battery over there underneath the canopy. But this is how I plan on running it for the most part. Very, very low power consumption, roughly about 3 amps once it gets up and running. You know, can't beat it. It'll last for quite a while, even if you have a smaller battery. All right, guys, so there's all the warm and fuzzies about this diesel heater. Love just about everything about it. The one and only con, and it's a very minor one that I wanted to point out, is at the fuel line connection. And this may be my issue or my fault, but if you saw the video, I didn't have any issues with leaking at the connection here when you have to drill the hole for the fuel line. I had no issues in the beginning, but after a couple uses, and I noticed especially when I filled it all the way up, I don't know if just all that weight and pressure, I had a very, very minor leak. Like, I'm talking like a drip every couple minutes. It was very, very minor, but I do want to point it out. So I'll put a picture on the screen. What I did, I basically just took some gasoline-friendly epoxy and, you know, just kind of gobbed it around there, sealed it up, and now since I've done that, what I do, I drained the can, of course, and then, you know, cleaned the area really well, and then reconnected right there, put that epoxy on. Since I've done that, as I mentioned, I had it filled all the way up to the top. It's not the first time I've done it. Since then, I've had no further issues, so it's nice and sealed up. Just make sure you use an epoxy that is, you know, gasoline friendly or works with any kind of gas. So just wanted to point that out. Other than that small issue that I've run into, that is the only con. I wish I had, you know, I love to give you guys positive, negative feedback, everything in between, but other than that, I have no other complaints or issues with this heater. I absolutely love it. So if you guys want to pick it up, I'll put a link down below. I highly recommend it at this point after using it for, you know, a few trips. Yeah, if you have any questions on it, put them down below. I'll help you out the best I can. But for the price, I mean, price-wise comparison, there are heaters out there that are so much more expensive. And after using this thing, I would never pay the price for those higher or brand name heaters out there. There's absolutely no reason to, and you could pick up something like this for a fraction of the cost and performs just as good. So any questions on it, put them down below. I'm going to start packing up. It's Super Bowl Sunday. I'm going to be heading home for the game. So yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Let me know if you need anything on this thing. Link will be down below. Check it out. Thanks for watching as always. We'll see you on the next one.